Okay, my name is Michael Lewis, and I'm a painter in Victoria, BC.
He's not Michael Lewis. He's somebody else. That's Charles Pipper.
And I started painting the particular style that I paint in now sort of around the early 80s, and largely because I was working in emergency shelter, and I've still been working in emergency shelter in the city for about 30 years. So I started by doing work that was a way of kind of expressing my own frustration with the sadness that I saw in the shelters and the kind of conditions that people lived in. So I did that for a few years, and that got me kind of known because it was a different subject matter. At some point while doing that, though, I began to feel as though I was using other people's suffering for my own subject matter, and it began to feel kind of inauthentic. Where initially it was a way to express something, then it started to become a thing I was doing, and I didn't like that. So then I started making more personal work, more about my own experiences in life, and did that for a number of years, very autobiographical pieces. And now I'm more into kind of, I hope stuff still has some kind of social reference, but it's more now to do with a lot of pop culture, a lot of things that I'm interested in, comics, movies, that kind of thing. These three paintings here are from a series I did called Canadians Without a Barcode. I originally come from the United States, and part of the United States culture is to aggrandize anybody who's an American. Canadians are much more circumspect, and so I saw these characters, these Canadian characters, that I said, boy, if they'd been in the States, they'd already have a movie made about them. So I tried to create almost movie posters. So these are three. This is Will James, who most people think of as an American because he wrote cowboy stories and claimed to be a cowboy, kind of like Grey Owl in Canada was an Englishman trying to be an Indian. Well, actually, Will James came from Quebec. He was French-Canadian, and he used to tell people the reason he had kind of a strange accent is he'd been raised by a French-Canadian trapper. But he didn't want people to know he was Canadian, and got a whole career in painting and writing Western stories. This is a local Victoria man, Bill Scott, who was a lighthouse engineer who went to China and had quite an interesting life there, and then came back to Victoria and was quite a character here. He was a soapbox philosopher. He used to stand in Beacon Hill Park and rant and rave about what was going on. And this man, C.D. Hall, he was a Chinese man who came to Canada during the gold rush, like a lot of Chinese people, and went up into the Caribou and became a fur trapper. And he was very successful because he was very smart. He not only had to learn English, but he started to learn the dialects of the native people. So he was much more respected by them than white trappers because he could actually speak their language. And later he became a photographer, mostly taking photographs of other Chinese men to be sent back to China to let their relatives know that they were okay. So he had that as a business, but then he started taking photographs of the native people there. And these now become some of our only, certainly our most interesting photographs of native people from that area. And he was a very successful merchant and had quite the life. And he's only really being discovered now. So what a great artist he was. So this is from another series that I did about different cultures, but not actually the cultures, more of the cliches that we have of those cultures. If we've never experienced them, Japan, what do most people think of? The Buddha, and they're often things that really they don't represent the culture at all. They represent the pop image of that culture. So I tried to incorporate as much, everything from Sony to to the bomb dropping, to all of these cliches. And sometimes it's hard for people to understand what I was doing. I did one of Mexico, and had a Mexican gentleman looking at it, and I was a bit embarrassed because I said, "This is not Mexico, you understand. This is a Westerner who's never been. That's their cliched idea." But he said, "But I live there. I live there," because I had inadvertently painted something that was very close to where he lived. So it was real to him. But the idea is really the pop images. These are like from the film Rush, a book in the 50s that talked about Japan, was set in Japan. And after the war, a lot of Japanese records were really popular in North America. So, and now we have Astro Boy, James Bond, goes to Japan. All of these ideas that we have, the soft. So that's that one. Another kind of subject matter that I use, which is, this came from a dream I had. And I woke up and sort of recorded as much of the dream as possible without really knowing if it had a meaning or anything. I just liked the imageries of the dream. But as I started to paint it, things came out of the painting, things that weren't necessarily in the dream, but now started to surface as I painted. And it became more of a painting about what we're doing to our world, including our waters and the skies. And I started to see that there were even images in the dream that kind of represented things ending, like Easter Island heads. Easter Island, they killed off all their vegetation, so there wasn't anything left. And these images just started to appear. And oftentimes these are my favorite kind of paintings because I don't know what I'm painting until I'm painting it. And then I look at it and go, oh, that's what I was talking about. I had no idea I was talking about that. Or dreaming about it. So I'm quite pleased with these kinds of paintings.